All systems go. Clear for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube? We're back with another edition of the NHL Quick Hit for this Thursday, November 2nd. Hope everyone's having an amazing day out there. If you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're close. We're so ever close to 4,000 subscribers right here on this channel. Going to be giving away a 6-month package, I believe, once we do get to 4,000 subscribers to a lucky member out there or a lucky YouTube listener that does watch our shows, interacts. So down in the comment section, drop in the comments why you would like a 6-month membership to SHIPITnation.com behind the paywall for all of our premium content over here. Let's jump right in. We got a 12-game slate on tap tonight. Obviously, NFL on slate as well. Thursday night football. And we got a 4-game NBA slate. Myself and Tambo will be live right here back on this channel this afternoon to break down the NBA slate. And Hoop, Tambo, and Title will be over on the Mayo Media Network to break down the Thursday night football game tonight. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely give that a look. But let's take a look at this 12-game NHL slate here. From a matchup perspective, we got 1-7 total. That's the LA Kings, Ottawa Senators there. There is a 7 total in that game. A couple 6.5 totals, Tampa and Blue Jackets there, 6.5 total. The Panthers and the Red Wings is a 6.5 total. And then 2 more 6.5 totals, Dallas Stars, Edmonton there, and then Montreal and the Coyotes is also a 6.5 total there. The rest all being 6 totals, and then we got 2 5.5 totals actually on the slate, which is more than we've seen so far yet. The Hurricanes and the Rangers there, 5.5 total. I have interest in one of the sides of that game for sure. That I think is going to be a little our own, especially with that total. And then the other 5.5 total is the New York Islanders and the Washington Capitals there. From a team total perspective, some of the top teams on the slate that have the highest team totals is Vancouver. Vancouver leads the slate at 4.24 as it sits right now. Tampa at 3.8. Edmonton at 3.6. Ottawa at 3.6. Kings at 3.5, and then the Coyotes at 3.5 as well. Some of the lowest teams on the slate. The Sharks sitting there at 2, Capitals at 2.6, the Jets at 2.7, Boston at 2.8, and then the Hurricanes at 2.8 as well. So that looks like the overview of this slate. Let's jump into some of my favorite stacks of the night here. Obviously, 24 teams to pick from. You can't choose them all. I got 7 of them listed down here that we'll bring up for you guys just to take a look at. Obviously, once I bring these stacks up, you can kind of play anyone in these on these stacks. Typically, I'm going to stick to the top line and the second line and the power play guys, but sometimes you can jump into the third liners on these teams for value guys overall. But the first team I'm looking at are these Kings. I'm going right back to the well here with the Kings. Kings got the job done for me a couple nights ago, and we almost shipped everything when they played Toronto there in Toronto. Now they get Ottawa here. And looking at the matchup sheet that we put up over at SHIPITnation.com, I do update the numbers now. The numbers do reflect home and road splits for this season. And I think this is a really good matchup for the Kings here. Just trying to find it on my sheet. Yeah, so the Senators at home, giving up the 20th most goals per game, 3.2 given up, but their penalty kill is sub 71%. It just 70.6% there. Give up about 3.5 penalties per game. The Kings have been the best road scoring team in the league through their 4 games that they played on the road, averaging over 5 goals per game. Absolutely love the Kings here. Really like the second line a lot here for the Kings. I've played the second line a lot. And I actually like this third line a lot as well, right? With Philip Deneau, Trevor Moore, and Arthur Kaliev. Played them on Tuesday. They got the job done for me against Toronto. I like going back right to the well with that line. They definitely correlate together on the power play as well. The Philip Deneau, Alex Kaliev, Trevor Moore line is a nice value stack there. I really like that line quite a bit overall. The Ants, Kopitar, Kemp, and Byfield line, remains pretty cheap. Kopitar at just 5,600. That's a super cheap price point for him. Adrian Kemp is now sub 6K, averaging over 4 shots per game, playing right around 20 minutes. That's a super cheap price point for him. He's been excellent over the last 6 or 7 games or so, 18, 11, 18, 24, 8, and 16 in his last few games. So Adrian Kemp definitely makes a lot of sense there. A D-man that is for Clay, Matt Roy. Matt Roy's been very good, averaging right around 2.5 shots per game. Going to play 22 minutes or so, pick up some blocks as well. He's got decent history against the Senators as well here. But yeah, I love the Kings here tonight. Think it's an excellent spot. And then that second line with Kevin Fiala, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Alexis Lafreniere is a really nice line. So I actually like lines 1, 2, and 3 here. My preference is actually that second line, the Fiala, PLD, Alexis Lafreniere line. Then I think I slide to the third line and then filled in with the first line. But you can't go wrong with any of them. Outdoor Senators, you can be scored on. Kings are very good on the road as well. Best road team in the league so far this season in terms of goals scored. And it is a 7 total. So Vegas expects there's to be a lot of goals. So I like the Kings and really like the Kings power play as well in that spot. Next interest I have here is going to Detroit. Detroit at home here. Detroit's been the 4th best team in the league on home ice this year. 4.5 goals average per game. Their expected goals is up there as well. And their power play matchup here is very, very good. The Panthers give up 4 penalties per game on average on the road this season. Penalty kill at just 68.8%. And the Red Wings have the 5th best power play on home ice in the league, cashing in right around 30% of the time. So my preference in this spot, definitely that top power play there for Detroit. Excuse me, Alex DeBrincat, Dylan Larkin, Big Mo Sider, Shane Gostisbehere, because they do run the double D-men, 5,100, 4,900 for those 2 D-men. I prefer Mo Sider if just picking one at 5,100. And then David Perron is going to be the other guy on that top power play at 4K. That's a very nice value play for him. So overall, love Detroit top line here, top power play. Think it makes a lot of sense here. Jake Wallman's another value D-man in this game that you could play here. But if you're just looking for one line, I really like that top line in Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, Alex DeBrincat. They correlate, Larkin and DeBrincat correlate together on that power play, which is a very, very good power play matchup. Lucas Raymond is a nice value play to add to that. He's on the second power play, I believe, as well. And then David Perron at just 4K, another value guy, skating on that second line with Andrew Kopp, JT Compher. Is going to be also on that top power play. JT Compher, I'll bring up him when I get to the value centers. He's owned Florida in his past. Obviously, that was with Colorado there, but in Detroit here, this is a good matchup. I like the Red Wings quite a bit here on the slate. Don't think they get played very much overall in this game either. Another team I'm looking at here is the road team there, not the Minnesota. I like Minnesota on home ice here, but I also like the Devils. The Devils have been the 2nd best road scoring team in the league. It is only a 2-game sample. They only played 2 road games here, but Minnesota through 4 games has allowed right around 4 goals per game on average at home. They give up the 4th most high danger chances in the league on home ice. They give up the 2nd most shots against on home ice. And their expected goals is the 3rd worst in the league on home ice as well. So Minnesota has not been good to start the year. So I do think Jersey can score some goals here. I expect them to see maybe 3 or 4, possibly even 5 goals in this game because Minnesota's been pretty leaky here. And I like to go right back to the well. Jersey just won this game a couple nights ago on the 29th there, 4-3 at home. I expect a similar score. I expect a similar score here on the road. And actually probably more goals for Jersey here. Big dogs are in play for me. Timo Meier, Jack Hughes, Tyler Toffoli. That top line is absolutely lethal. So I really like that top line quite a bit here. But looking at the second line there as well with Anders Palat, McLeod, and Jesper Bratt is a way to get different there. So top 2 lines mainly for me for Jersey in this game. Think we can see quite a bit of goals out of Jersey here. Minnesota's not been very good defensively like they have been in years past here. Jump into the team with the highest implied goal total on the slate. I got to have interest in them. I played them the other night here as the late night hammer, much like everyone did against Nashville on Halloween there on the 31st. I like going right back to the well there. Quinn Hughes is a great D-man play on the slate. Top line, top power play at sub 6K. Think he's an excellent play here. 5,800 for him, averaging over 4 shots per game. Decent matchup for D-men as well. In the late night hammer, these Sharks are just the worst team in the league. 0-9. They're just getting absolutely smoked. So yes, I love the Nucks here. Nucks are going to pick up a lot of ownership on this slate, I think, but it's hard to ignore them. Looking at the Sharks on home ice, 3.4 goals against, but their expected goals is even worse. Their expected goals against is over 4. They allow the most high danger chances in the league. They allow the most shots against per game at almost 40 on home ice here. So absolutely load the wagon on Vancouver here. Going to be chalky spot, but with such a big slate, I think there's ways to get different. Elias Pettersson, love him. Quinn Hughes, love him. Kuzmenko at 4,400 on that top line, top power play, love him. And Ilya Mikheyev is just 4K as well on that top line, second power play. I really like that stack quite a bit. Elias Pettersson, Kuzmenko, and Mikheyev. They're very cheap because Kuzmenko and Mikheyev are both 4K. Or 4,400 and 4K to pair with Elias Pettersson at 7,700. So love Vancouver here. You can't go wrong with any of them. If you want to get a little bit different, jump down to that second line there with JT Miller, D. Giuseppe, and Brock Besser there. Can't go wrong with any of them. Love these top 2 lines for Vancouver here. Going to get ownership, but hard to ignore. They have the highest implied goal total on the slate. Another team here that I think is not going to be the chalkiest team in the world. I'm going back to the well here. I'm going back to my Arizona Coyotes on home ice here. They are on a back-to-back here with travel, but now they come back home. Played a tough game last night, 4-3 to Anaheim there. But Anaheim on home ice can be a pretty decent team overall. I like going right back to the well here with Arizona, but in particular, the Arizona power play. Looking at their power play matchup, the Montreal Canadiens, 66.7% penalty kill on the road this season and allowing over 4 penalties per game. So give me this top power play mainly for Arizona for me. That would be Clayton Keller, Sean Durzi, Nick Schmaltz, Barrett Hayton, Logan Cooley are my main interest there. Love those guys as a stack. Nick Schmaltz, Hayton, and Keller all correlated as well on the full line strength matchup as well as Sean Durzi. So really love those 4 in this spot. Think Arizona is excellent plays on the slate, even on a back-to-back. They have been the second best home offense in the league, averaging over 4.6 goals per game. Expected goals is there as well, and they draw a lot of high danger chances, 4th most in the league on home ice. So sign me up for some of these Yotes at pretty low ownership in this game, and still a 6.5 total at home. So do like the Yotes there. 2 more teams I'm going to mention here. One of them I'm going to mention is the Seattle Kraken. I get this. I get it right with the Kraken. Kraken are tough to stack because you don't know where the scoring is going to come from. That's why in this spot, I'm just going to play the power play here. They don't have the greatest power play. They're averaging about 18% cash and rate on home ice this year. But looking on the other side, Nashville just cannot kill off a penalty at all. 64.7% on the year. They allow the third most penalties against as well on away ice, so on the road. Love this power play here for Seattle. Jared McCann, Jordan Eberle, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Justin Schultz, and Alex Wenberg is where I look. Alex Wenberg at 2,700. I'll touch on him once I get to the value section here in a second. Second line, top power play at $200 over min price there. You could definitely find worse values on the slate, but sign me up for this Seattle power play. If I'm playing Seattle on this slate, such a big slate, I'm just going to go to that power play and just correlate the power play personally, not mess around with the line stacks because they do have 3 lines that can score. So mainly give me the Seattle power play. And then the last team that I have interest in is actually the New York Rangers here, and in particular, another power play stack. I love stacking the power play when I can here, and I think this is a great spot. The Hurricanes have given up the second most goals against on the road, and that's a 7-game sample. Through 7 games this year on the road, 4.5 goals against per game, a penalty kill of sub 70%, and they give up the second most penalties against in the league at 4.7. Rangers on home ice have the sixth best power play, cashing in around 30% against, like I said, a very weak penalty kill for Carolina. So sign me up for this New York Rangers top power play, even in a 5.5 total. I don't think ownership's going to go to them. Games basically pick them right now. They're implied to score under 3 goals. I think that goes over here. I think we see some goals from New York. I think we could see a couple, especially if they get on that power play. Their power play is very good. So give me Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin, Chris Kreider, Adam Fox, and Vincent Trocheck is that top power play there. Really like those guys. And the price points are very cheap. Mika at 6,400 on home ice is very cheap. Artemi Panarin, this guy, 28-5, 24-18, and 25. He's averaging right around 20 fantasy points per game over the last 5 games. He's just 6,400, so love him. Chris Kreider's been great. So, yeah, love this top power play for the New York Rangers. Adam Fox, 17, 21, and 15 in his last 3 games. He's just 5,300 as a D-man, top line, top power play, playing over 22 minutes a game, shooting the pucks, blocking shots. So really like the Rangers here, even in a 5.5 total here. Carolina has not been the same team that they were in years past in terms of defense. Talked on 7 stacks. There are some players. I know I went fast, but you can rewatch this video. Obviously, it's recorded. If you guys have not yet, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And down in the comments, drop some of your favorite stacks, your favorite plays you're looking at tonight, and why you love SHIPIT Nation over here. And I will enter you into the drawing for the free 6-month giveaway once we get to 4,000 subscribers right here on this channel. Let's jump into value plays here. Already talked on some of the values. We're going to go by center first. My first value center I'm going to bring up is a Dallas guy here. They are on a back-to-back as well here. But I actually like going back to 2 of these value centers for Dallas. Number 1, Matt Duchene at 4K, 12, 8, 15, 15, and 8 in his last 5 games. Now gets a matchup here against Edmonton, who's been very leaky here. He's just 4K flat, third line, second power play as well for Matt Duchene. So at 4K, I like him. And then I actually like this guy a little bit better. Wyatt Johnston, second liner, second power play guy. He's playing 16 to 18 minutes here, 31, 13, 2, 18, and 3. I like him. He's got great success against Edmonton here. Wyatt Johnston at 3,900. Love the spot for him as a value guy. Going back to Seattle, I talked about liking Seattle in terms of a stack. I got to like this guy at $200 over min price. Alex Wenberg, getting top power play time. I think he's an excellent play. He's playing right around 20 minutes a game as well. So at 2,700, Alex Wenberg, definitely an elite value option on the slate in a good matchup here against Nashville. And then 2 more centers I'm going to bring up. I already brought up this guy when I talked about Detroit. I like Detroit a lot here tonight against Florida. Second liner, JT Compher, 3,700. I mean, looking at his history last season, obviously it was with a different team, but 27 and 21 DraftKings points in his last 2 games against Florida last season. I think JT Compher, he's playing 18 to 19 minutes here as well, averaging right around a shot and a half per game. Second liner. Love JT Compher here on home ice for Detroit. And then the last guy, I don't know what this guy has to do to get his price moved up, but DraftKings continues to keep this guy sub 4K, and he continues to produce 18, 8, 12, 8, 16, 11, 8. He hasn't scored under 8 points in his last 7 games, averaging right around 11 fantasy points per game over the last 5. This guy's just 3,800 in a late night hammer game for Vegas here on home ice, which I like third liners more. It's William Karlsson. So I really like William Karlsson as well. You just can't go wrong with him. He's been excellent all year to start the season. So really like him. Jumping over to the wing position here. Looking at a couple more guys from that Seattle squad that I liked a lot. My first guy, Oliver Bjorkstrand at 3,800, top line, top power play. Really like that power play matchup, like I said, for Seattle. This guy, 3,800, Oliver Bjorkstrand. Really like him in this spot. Going back to the Rangers squad, the New York Rangers squad that I mentioned last is one of my favorite stacks because they do have a good matchup here against Carolina. Alexis Lafreniere at 3,400, second liner, getting second power play time. Think he's an excellent play here. He's very cheap, good matchup. Carolina's been very leaky to start the year, so like him. But I also like this other guy, Blake Wheeler here at 2,600. Excellent spot for him here. Third liner on home ice against Carolina. $100 over min price, averaging over 2 shots on goal per game. So really like Blake Wheeler there at 2.6K. And then one more Vancouver guy I'm going to bring up is Ilya Mikheyev. I already mentioned this guy at 4K flat. Like this matchup for Vancouver. They're playing the worst team in the league for the Sharks here. So 4K flat. Give me Ilya Mikheyev there on this spot, 4K. Jumping over the D position, some value D-men for you on this slate. First guy, Nico Mikola, 3.7K there for the Florida Panthers. Think he's a nice play here. Going to play over 20 minutes a game, averaging about 2.5 shots on goal per game. And he's going to block some shots as well. 20 and 16 DraftKings points his last 2 games, sub 4K. Nico Mikola for Florida as a D-man there on the slate. I like him. Jake Wallman, another value guy. I've been a huge Jake Wallman guy. I played him a lot last season. Going to play him again this season quite a bit, I think, in this game. I like Detroit in this spot. But 13, 3, 17, 8, and 18 in his last 5. 4K flat for him. He's playing over 21 minutes a game as well. So Jake Wallman. A guy for one of the worst teams, the worst team in the league is for the Sharks here. Kyle Burrows, though, 3,300 for this guy, top power play. This guy's playing over 21 minutes a game as well. I think he's got a decent floor and some ceiling baked in there. So 3,300 Kyle Burrows as a D-man for the Sharks in the late night hammer game there. I like him. Going back to that Minnesota-New Jersey game, talked about liking Jersey in that game, but I do like a D-man in that game as well. Brock Faber, 3,600 for this guy. He's playing over 24 minutes a game, has some upside there. He's shown 11 and 10 in multiple games this year. 3,600 for him makes a lot of sense for me. And then another guy I got interest in, John Marino, 2,800 for him, averaging right around 22 minutes per game. Think he makes a lot of sense at $300 over min price here. For John Marino for the New Jersey. It is one of the best matchups on the slate as well is D-man against Minnesota. Really like the New Jersey side of that game because Minnesota's been super leaky. So John Marino, definitely like him as a D-man at $300 over min price, 2,800 for him. Talking on some of my favorite goalies on this slate, I'll run through them real quick before I get on out of here. Top goalie, Thatcher Demko, 8,500. You have to spend up for him, but I just don't see how the Sharks lose this game. The only thing is he could lack upside here. Again, the win is in pretty good shape. He's got a pretty good chance to get a win here, but the Sharks just don't fire the puck a ton. So if they do sneak a goal or 2 past him, it's going to be hard for him to pay off that salary. But just de facto highest total or a highest implied team total on the slate, largest favorite on the slate, have to have interest in some Thatcher Demko. Another guy I have interest in, talked about those Rangers, liking those Rangers, Igor Shesterkin at his price point of 7,900. One of my favorite goalies on the slate there against Carolina. Carolina's leaky. I like Igor Shesterkin. I do like Philip Gustav just at his price point on home ice here for the Wild. Jersey is a good spot, but Philip Gustav has a ton of save upside here and on home ice. I mean, he could get the job done. We've seen a 42-point ceiling out of him this year. He's done pretty well. He's 2-0 against Jersey as well. So Philip Gustav at just 7,400 on home ice for Minnesota. Like him, obviously do not play any Jersey guys against him. Another guy I'm looking at, Cam Talbot, played this guy on Tuesday against Toronto. Like going back right to the well. I talked about liking the Kings here against Ottawa. 7,800 for Cam Talbot. I think he's got some save upside as well in this spot. Sub 8K. Give me some Cam Talbot. And the last guy I'm going to bring up is James Reimer. Talked about liking Detroit versus Florida here. 7,400 for James Reimer. Really like James Reimer here on this slate overall. That's going to do it, though, for this edition of the NHL Quick Hit. Again, if you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and head over to SHIPITNation.com. Check all of our premium content out over there. But that will do it. Good luck tonight in your contest, your NFL Showdown, your NBA Streets, and more importantly, the NHL Streets. All my final content will be up on the website early afternoon. So I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you all for watching, and let's ship it.